What does the future look like without God in it? You heard the prophets. They told you what's going to happen. People will turn away from God. They'll turn to other gods. They'll turn to magic, to witchcraft, the occult. And God said, I'm going to give them over to their own desires. So people will chase after their own desires. They will leave the real God for false gods. Here's what the future looks like without God in it. No one going to church. It looks like chaos and anarchy. You know, when you look at the headlines today, when you read the news today, everything is in chaos and anarchy. Society is falling apart. The church is falling apart. People are falling apart. There's no hope for the future. That's what the world looks like without God. It looks like people without hope. People that have given up on life. People that feel like there's no purpose to their existence. And ultimately, if we're honest with ourselves, that's what we're all like. We're all just simply looking for someone or something to give us hope. But without God, there's no hope. I used to walk around and talk to people in the city, and I would ask them, what's the biggest problem you're facing? And almost uniformly, the answer that I got was, I don't have enough money. I'm trying to get a job. And then I would ask them, what's the most important thing you would do if you had that money? And almost uniformly, they would say, I'd buy food for my kids. They didn't think they could go get something for nothing. But people without hope, hopeless people, that's how they think. That's what the world looks like without God. You know, people who are living paycheck to paycheck, people who are struggling to make ends meet, people who are trying to get ahead but are barely getting by. That's what the world looks like without God. You know, another thing it looks like is people praying. I see people praying. I see people going to church. I see people on their knees. I see people in the pews. But then on the other hand, I see people cursing, and I see people getting drunk, and I see people high, and I see people living immoral lives. And I think to myself, how can people who claim to be Christians live like this? And the answer, of course, is they're not living like Christ. You know, people without God, they curse. People without God, they party. People without God, they do whatever they want, whenever they want, because there's no fear of consequences. And so that's what the world looks like without God. But thank God He's not finished with us yet. And my prayer is that while we have breath, we will turn our ways to His ways.